Hi, I'm Bart Hanson, the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
Hey Bart.
Hello.
This is actually a game from the Tampa Hard Rock.
Okay.
It's 251,000 cap,
Tampa Hard Rock 251,000 cap. Okay.
and we're 1,200 effective.
1,200
And
effective.
yeah,
Okay.
so the villain in this hand, he's an aggressive winning player. He's in the cutoff, and he opens to 25.
Okay.
And it folds to me in the big blind,
hmm
and I call with Queen 10 of hearts. Do you have a problem with just folding this really quick?
No, I would always call here.
Okay, yeah.
Queen 10
I
of
mean,
hearts,
yeah,
suited
he can be
Broadway?
pretty wide.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just hard to play out of position, I guess, but we're way ahead of his range usually.
yeah. Sometimes you can, yeah, and we've been talking about three betting out of the blind heads up with sort of a polar range, meaning that you want to
Mhm.
do it with bluffs and you want to do it with strong hands, and Queen 10 is probably two in between. I would probably almost always call here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the flop is Queen of Spades, Six of Spades,
hmm
Seven of Diamonds,
Okay.
and it goes check check.
Okay.
And when he checks back, I don't think he ever has a queen. Really, maybe he might have like Queen Deuce suited or like Queen X suited, but
I mean, that's a pretty that would be a very wide open from the cutoff. Usually, you don't see that type of super wide range until you're the button, but some people do it. If I was in his spot, though, I would still probably bet any queen because of the texture of this board and because it's late position versus big blind. I think any
Mhm.
queen here is basically a value bet. If you raised queen 10 suited from under the gun, okay, and you had like under the gun one call you, and the board came out queen deuce 7 rainbow, yeah, I'm going to check queen 10 there on queen deuce 7 rainbow under the gun versus under the gun 1. But here, opening from the cutoff and having a big blind defense on queen 6 7 two spades, any queen I
Right.
think is a value bet from his perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So the turn's the 10 of Diamonds.
Okay. So now you get two pair.
Right.
Yep.
So what do you think about leading versus checking here?
I mean, you sort of it doesn't seem I think that when he checks back the flop for the reasons I talked about, he's sort of in bluff catching mode. So unless you've got some sort of crazy history where you think that he's going to bet turn and call a check raise, it's just better to go bet. That's how I would scope this hand.
Okay, so the way I saw it, I thought he would be making he'd be betting a lot of hands in his range on the turn when check two.
Like what?
Like
Like
if he like
ace jack,
well
ace
like
king?
broadly draws. Yeah, and also a 10 because the board's there's two flush draws out there and some straight draws.
Yeah,
So if
but
I was in his position, I think I'd bet a 10 there.
are you going to be calling a check raise on the turn?
Well, I think he recognizes that if I do check raise here, I would have a lot of bluffs in my range.
Yeah, but is that true though? Again, for the same reasons we had an earlier call with that, wouldn't you usually just come out and bet your draws on the turn after it went check check? I mean, front door spades, back door diamonds, yes, but I'm just saying I would think most people are going to bet a draw on the turn as opposed to go for a check raise after it goes check check on the flop.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. So I did choose to check,
Okay.
but I definitely understand why betting good option here.
Yeah.
And he bets 30,
Okay.
and I raised to 100 because I just thought maybe go like larger than a min raise just to make it look bluffy because the board's really wet.
I would make it larger though. 100 is not even a
Okay.
pot size raise. I mean, if you're trying to make it look like you're trying to steal it with a semi bluff on the turn, why not make it like 160 or 170 or something like that? You know?
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely size larger than that. And well, he ended up calling.
Okay.
So the river is an offsuit 5,
Okay.
and the reason why I called this in is because well, first of all, I bet 250,
So the pot is two.
about
Okay. Yeah.
255.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just potted it.
Uh-huh.
And the question is, if I wanted to take this line, what's the bottom of my value range here?
To take this line with?
Yeah.
I mean, probably like if you see, it's hard to say like if you would ever have 5, 6 of diamonds here. Because if you thought that he was going to stab turn, you might just check call. But
Hmm.
if you somehow had 6, 7 here and played it this way, or you ran into 5, 6, I mean, I think any two pair could be played, um, in this manner, I would say. I mean,
What do you think just about like king queen or queen jack even? If you think he's always betting a queen on the flop.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, I guess it's possible. But again, like, there's got to be some sort of history here, though. Those hands usually aren't put into a check raise bet line. If you had ace queen, yeah, I mean, I could sort of get on board. King queen's a little bit borderline, but
Hmm.
um, yeah. So what ended up happening?
He ended up calling with pocket nines, and he told me he was blocking 8 9, so that's why he did it. And like a lot of draws missed, and it didn't occur to me until afterwards. Like if I had king queen, I wouldn't have made near the maximum. So then I started to second guess myself. Do I want to take like a really bluffy, depolarized line with those kinds of hands?
See, I mean, that guy. I mean, in general, oh, yeah. I mean, it's great when you just have to again, recognize configuration, right? If you want to start going that thin, but for him to say like, "Oh, I've got 2 9s here and I block 8 9, so I'm gonna call down when you check raise turn." And again, going back to
Hmm.
that other call, I just don't see people. It's not a very common line in live poker for the upfront person to check raise the turn after the flop goes check check when the preflop raiser is in position when the turn doesn't really change a whole lot. Usually they're going to come out and bet their draw. So that's a really, really optimistic call with 9 9 because if I'm him with 9 9, I have to assume that you are not going to come out and bet the turn with a draw, that you would
Okay.
check raise and then follow up with a bluff on the river. Because you would have to assume that I'm going to bet the turn. That's why most people come out and bet the turn with their semi bluffs because sometimes it's kind of a big leap that the guy's going to bet, on the turn. By the way, I'm not really a huge. I'm trying to think if he checked back the flop. Oh, and also too, I think 9 9 is probably a bet on the flop. I think it's probably pretty
Yeah, I think
close.
so too.
But but
Yeah.
but once he checks back the flop, am I gonna bet 9 9 on the turn? Probably not, because I think you're calling with a 10.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you're gonna call with like ace six, ace seven, some of the bottom parts of that. So I would, if I didn't bet the flop, I would probably check through 9 9 on the turn. I probably wouldn't bet it. So it's sort of kind of, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a little bit odd. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
think it's not a situation that would come up very often, right?
Yeah, not much. And the only time that I'm trying to think of betting 9 9, like, so if he bets the turn with 9 9 and you call, is he going to show that down at the end? Or is he trying to start running a bluff with 9 9 to get you off of a 10? You know what I mean? Like it's really in between. I'm surprised that he played it that way. But anyways, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA100. Click on the link right there.